sometimes it just opens up. And I'm not really wrong. There's a heart, it's cultural failure there. Just like you said, robot. Like the robot.
I think that's another one that doesn't my hand.
Very good. My hand.
So we'll see.
That's too long for a smile.
No, it's Judy Coleman. Sure. Judy didn't have her one side. She
ערב של שושנים, נצאנה אל הבוסתן, מור בשמים ולבונה, לרגלך מפתן. ערב של שושנים, נצאנה אל הבוסתן, מור בשמים ולבונה, לרגלך מפתן. לילה יורד לאט, ורוח שושן נושבה, הווה אלחש לך שיר בלט, זמר של אהבה. לילה יורד לאט, ורוח שושן נושבה, הווה אלחש לך שיר בלט, זמר של אהבה. Welcome and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
On page 142 in your siddur, we'll welcome in the Sabbath angels with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barchuni, Barchuni Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitkhem, tzeitkhem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat.
So wonderful to be together. Feels a little different for me than last Shabbat, for sure. But really, it's different for a lot of different reasons. First of all, of course, our Temple Shalom band is here, and we're so delighted to have all of these wonderful musicians from our congregation who've been working with Cantor Cohen to bring some beautiful music to our Kabbalat Shabbat. It's also a little different. As most of you know, we are now masks optional at Temple Shalom. So we're so glad people can be here in a way that's most comfortable for them. And we invite all of you to join with us as you are comfortable as well. You might have noticed if you're at home, we don't have the words on the screen tonight. We're having some technical difficulties, which goes along with the other thing that's different, which is that Rabbi Dan began his sabbatical today. And if Rabbi Dan's not here, tech doesn't go as smoothly. But we decided it's actually, it's okay, not a problem. We can pray however we want. And maybe actually, for those who are just, maybe a little comfortable at home, the words are here. And come back, and you can use the siddur. It's great as well. But we're glad everyone can join us as they are. As we continue, we're going to jump into our Kabbalat Shabbat, but first by bringing the light of Shabbat into our sanctuary. And I'm going to invite you, I'm going to light the candles on our behalf, and to please join the two of us in the bracha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
So the psalms that make up our Kabbalat Shabbat service are filled with musical imagery. We have the music of our voices praising God, music from nature, the seas and the mountains, and then man-made music as well. And in Psalm 98, which we'll sing in a few minutes, we have even specific instruments that were used in prayer: the lyre, the harp, trumpets, horns. And we're so excited to have the Temple Shalom Band back with us tonight. So I just want to take a second to introduce them. We have Ari on the darbuka, Fred on guitar, Louis on saxophone, Annette on guitar and vocals, David on flute, and of course, Joyce on piano. Thank you all for joining me tonight. And I wanted to point out specifically this word shir or shiru that comes up in a lot of the psalms that we're going to sing. We're going to say shir, shiru ladonai, which means sing, but it doesn't just mean like to sing in general. It means the imperative, you sing, the command. And we can imagine the psalmist kind of reaching through the siddur, reaching through history, saying, sing, sing, imploring us to sing with all of our souls. So when we sing this Kabbalat Shabbat liturgy, I hope that you here in the room and at home watching will join us. Even if you don't know the Hebrew words or they're not on the screen, just sing Yelalai. We just want you to join in with your soul. So we'll start on page 130 with Lechu Neranena. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzur yisheinu. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzur yisheinu. Lechu Shiru Ladonai. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shiru Ladonai. 8, Mizmor Shiru Ladonai. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, Mizmor Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Ki Niflaot Asa, Hoshia Lo Yamino Zroa, Kodsho Dia, Adonai Yeshuato, Beinei Hagoyim Gilad Tzidkato, Zachar Chasto Ve'emunato, Bebeit Yisrael, Ra'u Kol Asei Haaretz, Et Yeshuat Eloheinu, Hariu L'Adonai Kol Haaretz, Yitzchu Ve'ramenu Ve'sameh, Yalalai, Yalai, Lai, 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 Yalai, Lai, 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 Yalai, Lai, 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 Yai, Lai, Lai, Yalai, Lai, 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 Yalai, Lai, Yalai, Lai, 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 Yai, Lai, Lai, Yalai, Lai, 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 Yalai, Lai, 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 Yai, Lai, 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 Yai, Lai, 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 Lai. On the top of the next page, we sing Zamru Adonai, sing to Adonai with the lyre, with song, with trumpets, and the blast of the horn. Zameru Adonai v'chinor, v'chinor v'kol zimra. Zameru Adonai v'chinor, v'chinor v'kol zimra. Zameru, zamru, l'Adonai. Zameru, zamru, l'Adonai. Zameru l'Adonai b'chinor, b'chinor v'kol zimra. Zameru l'Adonai b'chinor, b'chinor v'kol zimra. So we're ready now to turn to Lechadodi, the peak of the Kabbalat Shabbat service, welcoming in the Sabbath bride, page 138. And I'm excited to invite up to lead this with me, Annette Kozicki. 138. I'm going to put the cable on now.
Thank you very much. Lecha dodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shabbat nekabela. עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
Yasher koach. We'll remain standing. Sorry. Remain standing as we turn to page 263 now for Chatzi Kaddish. And thank you so much to the band for leading us in Kabbalat Shabbat.
They'll be back a little bit later. יתגדל ויתקדש שמרבה, ועלמד יברכנותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכונו ויומכון, וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב באמרו, אמן. יהי שמרבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו Amen. Baruchu et Adonai Amorach.
Baruch Adonai Amorach leolam vaed.
Baruch Adonai Amorach leolam vaed.
Please be seated. We join together in this blessing for the evening time, page 265. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtsono, borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, uma'avdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Imloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shokbeinu v'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגד יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד ברוך שם כבוד מלכות לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לעוז על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen.
So I have some rituals to my week, and my Friday morning ritual is always Superstore. You can set your watch to Rabbi Brown at Superstore Friday morning. But today I did it. I bought my matzah. I did it. It was there, so I got it. I've discovered after 10 years of Vancouver living that when it's there, get it, because it might not be there next time you go. So I bought my 5-pound box of matzah, and I thought to myself, it's actually a perfect day to buy matzah, not just because it was there, but also because it's coming up as we approach now Shabbat. Shabbat this week is called Shabbat HaChodesh, the Shabbat which is the Shabbat of 2 weeks before Pesach, and it has to do with the closest Shabbat, which happens to be now, to Rosh Chodesh, the new month of Nisan, the month of Pesach. And it's these 2 Shabbats this week and next week. Next week will be Henry's Bar Mitzvah, Shabbat HaGadol. They're supposed to be preparatory. They're supposed to be helping us to get ready for this holiday that's coming, which is not just about, being neurotic about your food in your kitchen, but really it should be about your spiritual preparation, about getting ready to really think about how we can make a meaningful Pesach, how we can make sure that we have a place to experience Pesach, that our minds, our souls, ourselves are ready as we enter this season. So Mi Chamocha is a perfect prayer to think about Pesach, as well as we put ourselves in the place of our ancestors long ago as they were escaping and entering into freedom.
Norate lo dose vele, norate lo dose vele. Malchut chara uvanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam. Zelianu ve'amru, zelianu ve'ameru, Adonai imod le'olam va'ed, Adonai. ונאמר כי בדד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. On the top of the next page. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך.
turn now to 272 for Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים את הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
invite you to rise for the Amidah as we continue page 274.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, עזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עבר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Amen.
Please be seated. Continue on page 279, Ritzeh.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel u'tehi leratzon tamid avodat Yisrael. Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Korav Penei El Avadecha Vechoneinu Shefoch Ruchacha Aleinu ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון. ברחמים rachamim, baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shechinato lezion, lezion. For all of the blessings of our lives of each day, we give thanks. If we turn to the bottom of page 280, 4 lines from the bottom, we see the words V'al nisecha shebechol yom imanu. For all of the miracles, the wonders of each day, we give thanks. V'al nisecha shebechol yom erev avoker v'tzorayim me'olam me'olam kivinu lach me'olam kivinu lach hato ki lo chalu rachamecha והמרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך מעולם קיווינו לך מעולם קיווינו לך. So I'm excited to share with you a new tune for Shalom Rav. So if you're like, I love Shalom Rav, don't worry, you'll hear it again. It's not gone forever. But there's a contemporary composer who I've actually met and interviewed for my thesis last year, who's a cantor, Eric Concius, who wrote this beautiful melody for Shalom Rav, kind of gives a different flavor to the text, so maybe this will make you see it in a new, fresh light. We're on page 282. It goes like this. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim tasim leolam. Try that much. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim tasim leolam. Love having you guys here. It sounds so good. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom hashalom. לברך את עמך ישראל. שלום רב, שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים תשים בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Last time. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים תשים לעולם. Beautiful melody. Those words of peace on our lips will take a moment to bring forth the peace in our hearts with silent prayer. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו Yasher Koach again. We are going to turn now to our Shebeirach, our prayer for healing on page 371. So we think of all of those in our families, our circles of friends, and our community. We hold all of them together in prayer as we hope that they will find healing of body and healing of soul in the near future. Especially the Shabbat, we think of Asher Gavriel ben Mordechai Yehoshua Vasara Elishev, Riley Tregabov, Eve Silverman, Isabel Somech, Sigrapi Pramko, Richard Schwartzstein, Milton Lackman, David Coulter, Apollonia Wilczynski, Nelson Rudlier, Paula Friedman, Loretta Atkins, Nancy Evans, Elena Cobb, Annette Albert, Bill Cohen, Carla Zivich, Rose Godfrey, Eric Schneider, Doris Medved, Janet Gelb, Alicia Eckersley, Jean Angus, Bob Fanning, Avram Sudak, Merle Grandberg, Yehudit Bat Avraham Vasara, Ralph Schulman, Isabel, Judy Steiner Lossberg, Sanford Cohen, David Shlomo Gorney, and Andrea Jarzbiak. But if there are other names of people you're thinking of, if you'd like to rise and share their names out loud for our Shebeirach, you're invited to do so. Join together with Cantor Cohen. Shebeirach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha May the source of strength, who bless the ones our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi Shebeirach imotenu mekor hamracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you again to the band and all of you for being here. I want to just share a few things that are happening in the next few weeks. Most importantly, of course, again, is Pesach coming up. There are a few different Pesach-related things that are taking place at the shul. First of all, our sisterhood is sponsoring a women's Seder. The women's Seder is back. It will be taking place next Sunday, April 10th at 4 o'clock. And it's really a wonderful experience to kind of look at the Haggadah and the Seder experience through kind of a feminist lens. So everyone is invited to come. There's registration online. The registration does close April 4th, so sign up soon if you'd like to join Sisterhood for that. Our congregational Seder is back as well. We're very, very excited. Actually, 2 Seders taking place simultaneously. It's the magic of Temple Shalom. We can do 2 Seders at once. This will be on the second night of Pesach. So just want to first of all say the first night of Pesach is 2 weeks from tonight, Friday night. When that happens, as it does once in a while, we actually will not be having Friday night services on Erev Pesach. So for everyone to be at a Seder table. If you don't have a place to go for Seder and you're interested in connecting in a Seder table within the congregation, please email me or Cantor Cohen. We'd love to connect you with a temple family to make sure you have a place to go. But second night, come here. Come join us for our second night Seder. The first one will begin at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock will be our Young Families Seder that will take place in the social hall, hosted by me and Annette, which will be really, really fun. And then starting a little bit later at 6:30, we'll begin the adult Seder in Sarah's tent, led by Cantor Cohen, and then me, I'll come in the middle of that one. Wonderful food, wonderful company, just an amazing chance to actually be together in person at a Seder table is such a blessing. So do sign up soon. Those tend to sell out. So there is still space available, but it is limited. Just a few other things coming up next Friday night. We are also bringing back Family Shabbat, which is very exciting. So for young families, a lovely Shabbat dinner, and then some wonderful age-appropriate Shabbat services, followed by the regular 8 o'clock service. Next week, Jeff Balin, our wonderful past president of our congregation, will be continuing his Torah-inspired leadership series. This will be on Thursday. It's a different day of the week than typically. Thursday, April 7th at 7 on Zoom. So I think that's all for now.
April 12th, Shalom is
Yes.
having games afternoon, so we'll have some time to socialize, and then it'll be Tuesday, April 12th, and about 1 o'clock.
Fantastic. Excellent. And when is the Van Dusen date?
That's April 26th.
April 26th. Shalom Shishim, an outing to the gardens. Fantastic. So when I was a kid, there were things that were, well, as all of us when we were kids, there were things said on the playground, right, or at recess. And sometimes they really made me angry. But there was one thing in particular that just would make my blood boil. And it was when someone would say, "You throw like a girl." Now, this was really a painful insult to me because I was proudly the only girl on the baseball team in Little League. And I most certainly did not want anyone telling me that I couldn't throw like the rest of the team. But it wasn't until I got a little bit older, maybe when I was a teenager, that I realized that I had been internalizing this insult in a really sexist way myself all of these years. Throw like a girl? No, I don't throw like a girl. I'm strong, I'm accurate, I'm exceptional. I don't throw like a girl. And I realized, no, that was wrong. That was me taking that as an insult of what it means to throw like a girl. Now, I know that we can think of many different times when people are lumped together in a category and some sort of collective insult. It's terrible. It's not a thing that should ever happen. But it is especially in reading this week's parasha, Tazria, that my ears kind of perk up in the same way to that you throw like a girl sort of what when I first read this many, many years ago, felt like an insult. I wonder, were the kids who were teasing on the playground, were they just reflecting some kind of misogyny that was built in through all of these generations, stemming from maybe even Torah or the surrounding cultures? Where did this come from, this use of girl or talking about girls as something different, insulting, held to some other weird standard? So listen to the opening of the Torah portion so you understand what I'm talking about. This parasha opens with rules about what happens when a woman gives birth. It says this: when a woman bears a child, if she bears a male child, she is to be in a state of impurity for 7 days, followed by 33 days of blood purification. But if she bears a female child, she is to be in a state of impurity for 14 days, followed by 66 days of blood purification. So why is this? Why would it be that for giving birth, it's the same woman either way, that when she gives birth to a girl, that her impurity is twice as long? Isn't this maybe some expression of this misogyny that I was so angry about as a teenager? Maybe. But over the years, like most questions and reflections on Torah and its ancient context, sometimes I think, and for myself I know this is true, that the answer to that question of why is this going on changed for me. It changed for me as I entered different parts of my life. And it doesn't make me as upset as it used to. So how do we understand these verses and this double standard for impurity as reflected in the rules around the birth of a boy or a girl? So first, I do want to share the traditional understanding. Not quite as nice as what I'm going to get to, but I'll put it out there. So 2 things. First of all, I want to share the teaching of Kli Yakar, who was a rabbi in Prague in the early 17th century, who gives an interpretation that maybe we would expect from him in his time. He says that childbirth is a punishment for the first sin of, who remembers? Chava, Eve, right? Remember the garden and the fruit and the snake, and you're going to have pain in childbirth. And so according to him, Kli Yakar, the double days of impurity for a girl are required because eventually she is going to carry that sin as well. In the Babylonian Talmud, the rabbis say that a woman needs to be in a state of impurity because she will undoubtedly curse her husband for having put her in this position in the first place when she's giving birth. And that the period of impurity for a girl will be twice as long because she will forgive her husband more quickly if she gives birth to a boy, the more, cherished kind of child. So these 2 explanations, they clearly articulate kind of these very negative, very negative misogynistic attitudes that affirm my initial anger at this text. But. Okay, there's always different ways to read text, especially when the Torah itself doesn't actually give any reasoning. All of this reasoning comes from interpretation, and we add our layers on in each generation. So one commentary, which actually comes from the conservative movement's Chumash, Eitz Chaim, talks about that there are two kinds of holiness, of Kedusha, that are expressed in Torah. That there's natural holiness found in the miracles of the human experience of things like birth and life and death, and all of these things are sacred. And there are other kinds of holiness they call stipulated holiness that are designated times that we say, we make Kiddush and we say this time, this day is holy. And that we encounter God in both of these, in birth, in death, in sacred moments of holidays, in spaces such as synagogue or certainly the temple of old. And that perhaps in biblical society, these two types of holiness were seen as separate, and that really we don't mix the two. And so that when a woman who encountered God in this very sacred act of childbirth, that she might just feel the presence of God so strongly in this moment that she would not have to mix with the sacredness of the tabernacle or the temple. And so that this separation was about keeping those two things in different places. And that all the more so with a daughter who, again, it's kind of a twist on this idea of the daughter carrying on what we said was kind of the sin from before, but actually that she carries on the sacred holiness that is her potential in the future. Okay, one other interpretation. This comes from actually our women's commentary that we have in our congregation from the URJ. And this is from a scholar named Beth Alpert Nachai, who talks about these laws that actually might be a form of protection for mother and child, but in particular for the girls, for the female babies. She says that maybe the rabbis, and actually that God, in creating this commandment, wanted to make sure that the mother would be able to take care of her baby girl, even when so much of society was doubting the value of the girl babies in relationship to the boys. And that girls, oftentimes in times of difficulty of hunger and famine and neglect, were sometimes left or abandoned. And that perhaps the Torah is actually trying to avert such a thing, to make sure that the baby girls can stay in their mother's care for an extended period of time. This allows, of course, the mother and the baby to bond, but also to make sure that she is cared for. Now, I have no idea what the origin of these laws is really all about. And probably if you push me, I'd say that they are paternalistic and, all these different things. But the way in which we look to the text to interpret, to understand, and make meaning out of them in our own modern times is up to us. This is an opportunity. It is our inheritance as Jews that we can find interesting meanings and different ways of looking at it. I know that for myself, after becoming a mother myself, that I looked at these texts very differently than I did when I was fired up and 20-something. As we grow, the Torah grows with us. It could be that in another few years, maybe this will infuriate me again a little bit more. But there is wisdom that comes from experience. And Torah waits for us in a way to gain knowledge and understanding and bring that to our reading and our understanding. So in reading Tazria, I am reminded not to abandon Torah when it's difficult or hurtful. And even if I can't reconcile myself to its viewpoint, it is valuable to let it sit and to help me through these verses learn and become who I am and find its wisdom. Because it's from our wisdom of our experience that we learn. And from my experience, I have since learned that when someone tells me I throw like a girl, my answer to them is, thank you. Shabbat Shalom. So we'll turn back now to conclude our service with Aleinu on page 586. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים עמה, ושכינתו זו, בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מגנו אפס ולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים עמה, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Please be seated. Page 595. Yesh kochavim. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We turn to page 598. As we prepare for the words of Kaddish, we'll share the names of those within our community we are remembering, and I invite you, if you are here, to say Kaddish as I read the name of your loved one, to rise in your place as you honor their memory. We're in Shloshim for Robin Svensson and Mark Zlotnick. And we mark Yahrzeit this week for Sylvia Sora Arcus, Mickey Baker, Nathan Blumen, Marion Kasserer, Lori Cooper, Noel Daly, Ruth Leah Efrenson, Lila Flom, Murray Grafstein, Chaim Cabazo, Larry Katz, Abraham Kleiner, Clara Lacko, Basia Levin, Fanny Lewis, David Morton, Roman Moshevich, Lawrence Norman, Jack Rosenberg, Molly Steiner, Vera Woolner, Richard Wong, Baruch Wydra, Elizabeth Dukin Zaks. There are other names to mention for Kaddish. I invite you to share them at this time. We stand together then as one congregation and invite those who choose to join in these words of Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chaye echon uvyom echon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'alev v'yit'alal shmei dekudsha barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlam rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories always be a blessing. So we say together, amen, amen. So we'll remain standing. We're going to do Kaddish and Hamotzi, and then our closing song, I think. Okay. Vay'erev vayvoker yom hashishi, vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam, vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa, vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa, vayavarach Elohim et yom hashvi'i, vayakadesh oto, ki hivo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim lasot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Chaim.
Chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Page 626. Ein keloheinu, ein kadonenu, ein kemalkeinu, ein kemoshienu, mich Eloheinu, mich Adonenu, mich kemalkeinu, mich kemoshienu, nodel Eloheinu, nodel Adonenu, nodel malkeinu, nodel moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Join us in our social hall for an Oneg Shabbat. Service is tomorrow, 10 a.m.